Hey everybody, it's Sam Jacobs. Welcome back to the Sales Hacker Podcast. It's Friday Fundamentals. And today we've got back on the show this week's guest, Ernest Owusu. And Ernest is a Senior Director of Business Development at 6 Sense. He's running an SDR team. And he's going to talk about how to treat your sales career like a professional athlete. In Ernest's background, he played for the Vikings, he played for the Buccaneers, he played football for a very long time. So he went from being in the NFL to being a BDR, and he's risen up the ranks as a consequence of that. And so the question is, how do you approach your sales career like a professional athlete? Now, before we get there, we want to thank our sponsor. Friday Fundamentals is brought to you by Outreach. Outreach triples the productivity of sales teams and empowers them to drive predictable and measurable revenue growth by prioritizing the right activities and scaling customer engagement with intelligent automation. Outreach makes customer-facing teams more effective and improves visibility into what really drives results. Now, Ernest, welcome back to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
We're excited to have you back. Our question to you today: how should a salesperson, how can they approach their sales career like a professional athlete?
Sure. So the thing that kind of separates not just like great professional athletes, but Hall of Famers, the very best, comes to the fact that an amazing professional athlete knows his or her strengths and weaknesses. I look back on my time when I was playing with the Vikings. We had a guy who was an absolute animal, like a phenomenal defensive end. You know, he's later on in his career, and every single day, even though he had his great contract, he had these Hall of Famer stats. Every single day, he was perfecting his craft, the same moves, the same plays, the same focus that helped him be effective. And I learned that, part of the process is you have to know your strengths and you have to know your weaknesses, but also you have to make your strengths something that you can beat anyone with. So if you're approaching your sales career, first and foremost, you have to know what you're not good at, but first, really try and dig into what you're strong at. When I was a BDR, I realized that my process was something that helped me hit my number and be really effective. So I wanted to make sure that, within my company, within all my other BDR friends at other companies, that my process was so strong that no one could possibly say that they do better than me. And then when I eventually transitioned on to become an AE, interestingly enough, I realized that when I was struggling between generating pipeline and closing deals, I've realized that my issues with my quota attainment were primarily because I just was not generating enough pipeline. So and even though it was something I knew I was really good at, I made myself so good at generating enough pipeline early on in the month that I could kind of walk into my number the rest of my career. So the biggest thing that I would highly recommend everyone do to kind of up your game and make yourself kind of play or perform as a salesperson, as a professional athlete, is really know what your strengths are and make sure without a doubt that your skill set is stronger than anyone across the board, and you can just kind of walk into your numbers that way.
I love it. And again, folks, it's focus on your strengths, which is a common refrain. If you haven't read the book, First Break All the Rules. Again, that book is all about leadership and management, and that book specifically talks about how to not try to correct people's weaknesses, but really try to accentuate their strengths, which is Ernest's lesson for us today, which is awesome. Ernest, if folks want to reach out to you, what's the best way to connect with you?
Yeah, sure thing. So LinkedIn is perfect. Feel free to reach out to me. Any questions you might have about anything across the board, I'm more than happy in all ears.
Awesome. Folks, if you want to reach out to me, you can. LinkedIn.com/in/Sam F. Jacobs. We want to thank our sponsor, Outreach. They triple the productivity of sales teams, empowering them to drive predictable and measurable revenue growth. If you want to join Revenue Collective, the thing that I do during the day, go to revenuecollective.com and click apply now. Other than that, we're done. Ernest, thanks for being on the show, and we will talk to you next time.